Okay, here we've got a question, quite a lot of words in it. Always make sure you do read them through carefully. So we get to the fact we're dealing with marks obtained in a French test. In the past, they've been normally distributed, and we've got values of mean and standard deviation. And then we've got a suspicion, so that's going to be important. And we've got to investigate that suspicion. And there's some details relating to a random sample of 35 students. And we've got another mean. And we've got to investigate at the 5% level that suspicion. So set up H0 and H1. H0 always has got an equal sign in it for a hypothesis test of a mean. And it is helpful to decide in advance which of these corresponds to the suspicion that we're testing, and which doesn't. Sometimes it's H0, sometimes it's H1 that is the claim or suspicion. The big decision you have to make, as ever, is it Z or is it T? Okay. If the sample size is large, is 35 large? Not really. Then you can normally get away with a Z. But if you ever use T when it should be a Z test, it's just plain wrong. You've got to actually, every time, look at the correct reason for whether it's Z or T, which is based on whether you're given a sigma or whether you're given an S. So are you going to be using, when you calculate your test statistic, are you going to be using a standard deviation that's from the population or from the sample? So which number from this question are you using? Hone in on that, decide whether it relates to the population or to the particular sample that's being used for the test. Calculate your Z or T, draw your diagram, accept or reject H1, and then interpret in context, which is best done by referring to whether or not you have evidence to believe or disbelieve the teacher's suspicion. And if you're going to say what that suspicion was, then copy out the words from the question. In part B, you've got to explain in the context of this question the meaning of a type 1 error. Now, maybe you've possibly committed one in part A, maybe you haven't. Put that on one side. You're just demonstrating you know what a type 1 error is, and that you could relate it to the situation. So it's an error, so it's going to be doing something wrongly. So you're drawing a particular conclusion about the teacher's suspicion when a particular thing is true. You need to say those two things, concluding that blah-de-blah-de-blah, when in fact blah-de-blah-de-blah.